So here we have all three baskets, large, medium and small, and as you can see they are all completely stackable. So when you're not using them you can store one inside the other and store them away really neatly. The three different sizes, the small, medium and large, are all made in exactly the same way. The process is exactly the same. I've got pattern available from my website, sewnglife.com, if you would prefer to buy and be able to download the pattern and have the written instructions. It is sometimes tricky to work out the size of the circle that matches the wraparound piece. So this does that all for you, and it's all set out. So you've got the small, then you've got the medium, and then you've got the large with really, really easy to follow instructions. Alternatively, obviously, you just can follow along with this video. So I'm going to make the large one in this video, and I'll go through all the steps for you, and hopefully you're going to love it. Right, so I'm going to give you the sizes of all the pieces that you need for each of the sizes. This is the first one, which is the small. Now, what I would say is it is really important that the circle piece is the correct size so that it fits in with the body pieces. And if it doesn't, what is going to happen is you will struggle to fit this in correctly. So make sure that you've got the right size circle. So I talk about the diameter. So the diameter is the distance across the circle going through the center point. So that's how you measure the diameter. Okay, so the sizes that you've got for small, so you need an outer piece, an inner piece, and then a piece of foam, and that is going to be 37.5 times 10 centimeters, which is 14 3/4 times 4 inches. There's also a piece of trim which is in the gingham, okay, and that measures 37.5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, which is 14 3/4 inches by 2 inches. The bottom is a circle, and the circle has a diameter, which is across there, of 11 centimeters, which is 4 3/8 of an inch. For the medium, same three pieces. So the bottom of this is the circle with a diameter of 15 centimeters, which is 5 7/8 of an inch. And then the body outer, so the outer lining and bag foam all need to be 49 by 14 centimeters, which is 19 1/4 inches by 5.5 inches. The contrast is 49 by 5 centimeters, which is 19 1/4 inches by 2 inches. And then for the larger piece, again, three pieces, the diameter of this large circle is 17.5 centimeters or 6 3/4 inches. And then again, you need an outer lining and a foam, which is 58 by 16.5 centimeters, which is 23 by 6.5 inches. The trim is 58 by 5 centimeters, which is 23 by 2 centimeters. Right, so the fabrics to use, I've just used a cotton polyester for all of these, for the inner and the outer, and with a nice gingham trim. So really, really nice and pretty. I'm really happy with the fabric choices there. Then the other thing that you've got is this foam. Okay, so this bit's really important. So this, I've just called it bag foam, and the one that I've bought is just, I'm in the UK, I've bought it from a fabric shop. It's just unbranded. But what you've got is you've got like a foam inside there, which is about 5 millimeters, which is half a centimeter or 1/4 of an inch. And then on the outside, you've got like a fabric layer. So it's easy to sew through, and it gives it some sort of rigidity, but while still being flexible. It's easy to sew, it's easy to use, and it allows it to sort of sit upright, and obviously to put your things in there. So it's really, really good. It is slightly more expensive, I would say. I've got another example here of one which is a bit thinner. I actually asked for the same thing at the shop and got these two different things on two different occasions. So it does vary when you buy in the unbranded, but it is a really good product to work with. It just gives it real sort of like structure. It allows you to have structure in your item. So yeah, so that's the foam that we're going to use in these three items. So you can see what I've got cut out here is a piece of foam, a piece of the outer, a piece of the inner, and then the gingham trim. And then I've got the foam for the bottom and the outer and the lining the same size. And then I've just got a little label that I'm going to add into the side that says handmade with love. So first of all, the right sides together, you're going to pin the right side of the body to the gingham and then the right sides here to here. So you will have, it looks like that on the back. So what you're then going to do is just sew down both of those edges. So they're sewn together, looks like that on that side. So turn it over, and what you want to do is iron the seams so they sit onto the piece of body. So like that. It's a good idea to iron it now, because once you start sewing it, because it's a round thing, it makes it a little bit more difficult to iron at the later stages. So it's a good job to get it all nicely ironed now. And it's also nice to iron it from this side as well. Right, so because the wadding that I've got is not fusible, i.e. not able to iron on, what I want to do is I want to make sure that it's going to sit really flat on this fabric. So what I've decided to do is pin it in place. So this is the outside fabric, so this is going to be the outer piece. So I've pinned it in place so that the foam sits halfway across there. So I've pinned it there all the way across, and then I've pinned it down and at the bottom. I've shaved off any little bits at the side so it's completely in line and it's completely flat. And then what I'm going to do is, just because I think this will make it easier, the next stage is I'm going to sew a line of stitching right across there to hold it in place, and then down the sides there and there. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I really want this to lay flat and not be wrinkled. So I think it's a 5-minute process that will make it look a lot better at the end. So I'll take it to the sewing machine and just give that a sew around now. I just want to point this process out, this step out. This is the medium one, and I just wanted to point out that the make sure that this wadding sits in exactly the right place so that the gingham is the same this side and this side. So you want it to be exactly the same length both sides, so that when the top stitch is done at the end, it sits really nicely. So this is the stage at which to rectify that. If that doesn't happen, then you can move this wadding up or down, but just check on that side and then also on that side that it's the same distance either side. Okay, and then do a rough, just check all the way along as well. You have to do that more by eye. Okay, so that's the stage at which you check that position of the wadding. So next I'm just going to add a little handmade label. Just going to put it on here. This is the right side, so this is the outer side of the fabric. I'm just going to do a little row of stitching to stitch it on to the side there. Right, there we go. It looks really cute, doesn't it? I like that addition. Right, now right sides together. I'm going to put one side against the other, and then that is going to be sewn. Make sure that these seams match up here and here, because when it's completed you want to make sure that that's all matching. So what I'm going to do is put a pin in there first and there. Okay, and then just pin the other bits. Oh, it's a bit of a sweet wrapper there. Pin there and there, and then along here as well. So you're going to sew all the way down there now, but you're going to leave a gap here, which is in the lining section, and that's where it's going to be turned inside out. So normally I would only leave about, I don't know, 7 centimetres, but I'm actually going to leave a bit more. I'm actually going to leave more like 10 centimetres here. And the reason for that is that this is quite bulky. So I think it's going to need quite a bit of a gap for it to be turned inside out. So I'll just take it to the sewing machine. So there and all the way across there. Okay, so that's attached now. And now on to the next stage, which is the bottom. Right, so I'm going to do something very, very similar with the bottom that I've done to the sides, which is, because again, not fusible, I'm going to attach this piece. So this is the outer piece, and the wrong side of the outer piece has got the wadding attached to it. So I'm literally going to attach it all the way around and give it a line of stitching. And again, the only reason that I'm doing that is because I want this to sit in place really flatly. And when I'm attaching this piece to this, which can sometimes be tricky, I don't want to be wrangling with all of this fabric moving around and this fabric moving around. So that's the reason why I'm doing this process here and that I did that process there. Right, so the next stage is fitting this into here. Okay, so you've got the right side of the fabric here and the right side of the fabric here. So you want right sides together, and this is going to fit in here. But a little trick to make it just a little bit easier to work out. So fold your circle in half and just do a mark, pencil mark there, and pencil mark there, and then fold it again with those 2 points touching, and then mark there and there. So what you've effectively done there is you've cut it into quarters, and what you're going to do here is the same thing. So you've got your, obviously your seam is one bit, and then you mark dead opposite the second bit, and then you put those 2 seams together, those marks together, sorry, the mark and the seam together, and you mark at that edge, and at that edge. So what you've now got is you've now got 4 points on that circle, and then you've got 4 points on that circle, and it's going to help you to match them up. Okay, so I would suggest, if you've got them, using these clips here. So you've got right sides together. So I'm going to put my first one in, and then what I'll do is I'll show you what to do if it doesn't quite work out. So let's put our 4 in and see if it's going to work out. I think it looks like it probably will. Yeah, that should be okay. But what I was going to say is, if your circle doesn't quite meet up, what you can do is you can alter the size of this hem here, this seam here, to make it fatter or smaller, just to accommodate the width of your circle. Now spread that out, okay, because that's quite a lot of fabric. So just lay that flat like that. Okay, so then you've got one little section there to do. Okay, so you can just do it in sections, you see now. Just makes it a bit easier, because it is sometimes quite tricky pinning 2 circles together. Well, I find it is anyway. Maybe you don't, but I do. Okay, just going all the way around, and sometimes it feels like it's not going to fit, and you sort of think, oh, that's never going to work, but then hopefully in the end it does, because this circle looked like it was a little bit small. Okay, There we go, gone all the way around there. Quite happy with that. So what I now need to do is take that to the machine and sew a line of stitching around there. So I'm going to actually sew on this side. Okay, so I'm going to put that side into the sewing machine. That's sewn on now, so that's the first end. Now we need to do the second end. So exactly the same process. I'm going to fold this into fours and mark the edges. Okay, and then the same here, and do exactly the same. And if the previous one just fitted, then this will also fit. So I'm going to go ahead and pin these all the way around. So don't forget to to pin the 4 anchor points first and then do each section. Just makes it a little bit easier. Right, so it's all pinned in place. So take it to the sewing machine and sew all the way around there. That's sewn all around now. And so the next thing then is to turn it inside out using this gap. And now the next thing is to close this gap up. So fold the edges under so that they follow the same seam line as the rest of the seam that's been sewn. Pin that in place and then take that to the sewing machine and just do a row of top stitching so that it's all closed up. Now that that side is top stitched, what you want to do is iron the fabric. Now my outer fabric has actually stayed really nicely ironed because the wadding inside has kept it quite stable, but the inside, the lining, has got quite creased from when I've been turning it inside out. So give it a really good iron. Always makes things look so much more professional when they're ironed nicely. Now push the lining inside and sit it in place. Okay, what you can also do if you want, I don't tend to always do this, but if you want to, you can get a towel and fold the towel inside and iron the outside like that. Right, so this is almost finished now. You can see it's looking really nice. So that's the outer, you've got the trim on the top and then the inside. So one of the last things to do is to do a row of stitching here just to keep the lining in place. Pin all the way around, but you want to check that you've got the same distance of gingham there and there as well, so that when you sew onto the gingham, it also goes onto the back of the gingham there. If you haven't got this section equal, what will happen is your line of stitching will fall on the lining and it just won't look quite as nice. So go all the way around and just manipulate it with your fingers if you need to, just to make sure that it's the same height there as there. Pin it in place and then do a final row of stitching. So that's finished now and it looks really, really nice. I'm really happy with it. You can see that the line of stitching is on the gingham, so it all looks nice. It looks nice inside as well as outside. So I'm going to make the others. It's exactly the same process, and I'll show you those in a second. So here we have all 3 baskets, large, medium and small, and as you can see, they are all completely stackable. So when you're not using them, you can store one inside the other. and store them away really neatly. I hope you've really enjoyed this video and that you're going to make some of your own baskets and get lots of use out of them. Leave me a message in the comments, let me know what you're going to use them for, if you've enjoyed making them, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!